In this session, we are going to talk about the proof for basic proportionality theorem, which is also known as Thales theorem. Let us take a look at the statement. If a line is drawn parallel to one side of the triangle, so here I have drawn the line PQ that's parallel to the side BC, intersecting the other two sides, then it divides the two sides in the same ratio. So basically what is given here is, it's given that in triangle ABC, PQ is parallel to BC. We have to prove that the ratio in which this line divides both the sides. So P is the point where this particular line intersects AB. So the ratio in which this particular line divides the length AB is basically AP divided by PB. That is equal to, now this particular line is intersecting the side AC at point Q. So the ratio in which this line segment divides AC is AQ divided by QC, right? So we basically have to show that AP by PB is equal to AQ by QC. So let us see how to prove this particular theorem now. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to join the point Q with B as well as A. So I have constructed, so in construction, let me say that join Q with B, join Q with B. And now I am going to draw an altitude for the triangle APQ. So the altitude from the point Q is going to intersect the line segment AP at some point X. Okay, let's consider this point to be X. And this is the 90-degree altitude. So now I can say that area of triangle, so area of triangle APQ, area of triangle APQ is going to be, if I now consider the triangle APQ, so let's only consider triangle APQ. I know that I can consider AP as the base and QX as the height. So area of triangle AQP is going to be half multiplied by the base is AP, multiplied by the height is QX. And similarly, if I find the area of triangle PBQ, so area of triangle PBQ is basically this particular triangle. This particular triangle has PB as the base, so the area will be half into PB, and if PB is considered to be the base, because angle P is an obtuse angle, the altitude is going to lie outside the triangle. So again, I can consider QX as the altitude, right? So now let me divide these two equations that I have got, and let's see what I get. I get therefore area of triangle APQ divided by area of triangle PBQ divided by area of PBQ is equal to half and half cancels, QX cancels. So I get AP upon PB, right? Let me mark this as my first equation. Now just to explain this point, when I have an obtuse angle triangle, so PBQ was an obtuse angle triangle. So whenever I have an obtuse angle triangle, let me draw an example over here, right? So this is the obtuse angle triangle. Now if I consider this side as the base, right? If this side is considered as the base, the altitude is going to be drawn from the opposite vertex and it has to be perpendicular to the base. But you will notice that since this angle is obtuse angle, you cannot draw an altitude within the triangle. But basically altitude means the perpendicular distance between the two parallel lines, one passing through the vertex and other is the base, and hence the altitude will always lie outside the triangle, right? So this is how I can draw the altitude. I can always extend my base, okay? I can always extend my base, and this particular distance, the vertical height, this particular distance will be calculated as the height of this particular triangle, or height that corresponds to this particular base, correct? And that is what happened in triangle PBQ. Because angle P was obtuse angle, that is why the altitude lies outside the triangle. So I hope you understood the first equation that we have reached so far. I'm going to pause for a minute and then I will take up the next equation. Okay, now I'm going to do a similar thing with the other side as well. So now I have made a similar construction. I have joined the point P and C, okay, and I have projected an altitude onto the length AQ. So again, now I'm going to think about what is area of triangle APQ. So area of triangle APQ, considering AQ as the base, I can say that PY is the height. So it is half of the base, that is AQ, multiplied by the height, which is equal to PY. And similarly, area of triangle PQC. So area of triangle PQC, we are considering this triangle right now. Area of triangle PQC is going to be, again I can consider QC as the base, so it will be half of QC multiplied by the altitude, again remains PY because Q is the obtuse angled vertex. So it is half of QC into PY. And now again if I divide these two equations, let us see what happens. So again the term half and half cancels. The term PY also cancels, and therefore I can say that area of triangle APQ divided by area of triangle PQC is equal to AQ divided by QC. This is the second equation that I obtained from the given figure. So let me again pause for a minute before I move on with the remaining part of the proof. Yes, and now let's complete our proof. Now the idea is very simple. See, if you join Q and P again, if you consider the triangle PQC, correct? If you consider triangle PQC, PQC is the triangle drawn with PQ as the base and between the parallel lines PQ and BC. And similarly, even triangle PBQ, this particular triangle is also drawn between the same parallel sides with PQ as the base. So I can say that triangle PQC and triangle PQB have the same area. So why do they have the same area? because they are drawn on the same base. They are drawn on the same base PQ, and they are between the same parallel lines, right? Between the same parallel lines PQ and BC. So now what we are going to do is we are going to take a look at these two equations. If you notice the numerator of the both the left hand side of both the equations, the numerator is triangle APQ in the numerator, and take a look at the denominator. The denominator is triangle PQC, area of PQC and area of PQB, and these denominators are therefore going to be equal, because just now we showed that PQC and PQB have the same area. That means the left hand sides, so just to summarize quickly, the numerators are the same and the denominators are also equal, right? The denominators are also equal, and this therefore means that the left hand side are equal. For in both the equations the left hand side is equal, which implies that the right hand side should also be equal, and therefore I can say that AP upon PB should be equal to AQ upon QC. Hence AP upon PB is equal to AQ upon QC. This is the statement for basic proportionality theorem, and we just discussed the proof for the given theorem. So pausing for a minute before I move on to the next theorem. Now let us discuss the converse of this particular theorem. So let's consider the statement of the converse of BPT. If a line divides two sides of a triangle in the same ratio, then the line must be parallel to the base. So over here it's given that there's a triangle ABC and AP upon PB is equal to AQ upon QC. This is now given to us. We have to show that the line PQ is parallel to BC. So this is what we have to prove in this particular theorem. Now let us consider that PQ is not parallel to BC. So let me now draw a line such that it is passing through P, it is parallel to BC. So let us consider that the line which is parallel to BC passes through the point R on AC, right? So I would say in construction, let me state that construct PR, construct the side PR parallel to BC, right? And now I have to show that R and Q are basically the same points, right? This is what I have to show. And if I can show that R and Q are the same points, then I can say that PQ is going to be parallel to BC. So this is going to be the strategy that I'm going to use for this particular proof. Let me repeat that again. What I'm trying to say is, if I can show that R coincides with Q, I know that PR is parallel to BC. I know this. This is by construction. So if I can show that R actually coincides with Q, then it would mean that PQ is also going to be parallel to BC. And that is basically what I have to prove in this particular theorem. So let me start with the proof. I know that since PR is parallel to BC, I can say that AP upon PB is equal to AR upon RC, right? And this is because of basic proportionality theorem. So I have already proven the basic proportionality theorem. So I am using that particular theorem in this particular proof. So AP upon PB is equal to AR upon RC. And it's already given that AP upon PB is equal to AQ upon QC. This is given to me. And I also have AP upon PB equal to AR upon RC. And therefore I can say that AQ upon QC should be equal to AR upon RC, right? If the left hand sides are equal in both the equations, then the right hand sides should also be equal to each other. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add 1 on both sides. So let us see why I'm going to do that. Let us see how it helps. So I can say that AQ upon QC plus 1 is equal to AR upon RC plus 1. After finding the LCM, I get AQ plus QC divided by QC is equal to AR plus RC divided by RC. Now AQ plus QC becomes AC upon QC is equal to AR plus RC also becomes AC upon RC. Now if you notice, the numerators are equal and this is an equation, which means that the denominators should also be equal to each other. So the length of QC should also be equal to the length of RC. Now CQ will be equal to CR only and only when the points Q and R coincide, right? Otherwise there's no chance that the length QC is going to be equal to the length RC. So QC and RC shall be equal only when the points Q and R coincide. So this means since QC is equal to RC, it means that Q and R coincide. Q and R coincide, and since PR is parallel to BC, so now because Q and R are actually the same points, this basically means that PQ is also parallel to BC. So this is how we prove the converse of BPT. Again, just to recap, we constructed a line parallel to the base. We applied BPT and we got the first result. The left hand side of the first result and left hand side of the given part were equal, and that is how I concluded that the right hand side should also be equal. So AQ by QC should be equal to AR by RC. I added 1 on both sides. So the advantage of adding 1 on both sides was that I quickly got AC in both the numerators. And since the both numerators were equal, I was able to conclude that the denominators are also equal. And because QC and RC were equal, this can happen only when the points Q and R coincide with each other. So this is how I proved that PR is also therefore, sorry, because PR was parallel to BC, I concluded that the length PQ was also parallel to BC. So this is the proof of the converse of BPT. I will pause for a minute so that you can take a look at the proof and then we continue. Let us now prove the angle bisector theorem. So this is the angle bisector theorem. Let us state it. The internal bisector of an angle of a triangle. So we have drawn the angle bisector, which means that angle A gets divided into two equal parts. The internal bisector of an angle divides the opposite side. Opposite side is BC. It is getting divided into two parts, BM and MC. The internal bisector of an angle of triangle divides the opposite sides internally in the same ratio as the sides containing the angle. So we basically have to show that BM upon MC is equal to AB upon AC, right? This is the internal angle bisector theorem. So let us now use basic proportionality theorem to prove this particular theorem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line through C that's parallel to AM, okay? And I'm also going to extend BA. I'm also going to extend BA such that it intersects this particular side. So let us extend BA till this particular side, and let us name this particular point of intersection as N, right? So I have drawn two lines which are parallel to each other. And now I have to prove that BM upon MC is equal to AB upon AC. So let us now try proving this. I can start off saying that. So let me write down the construction. So now I can take triangle. I see that there is a line parallel to the base. So let me apply BPT to triangle BNC. So I can say that in triangle BNC, I can apply BPT. I can say that BA upon AN is equal to BM upon MC, right? So again, the sides the line segments AM and CN are parallel. So I am able to apply BPT in the whole triangle. And this is the equation that I get. Now, because these two lines are parallel, I can say that because AM and CN are parallel, I can say that this particular angle, angle ANC, is equal to this particular angle. So I can say that angle ANC is equal to angle BAM because these are corresponding angles. These are corresponding angles. And I can also say that I see a Z over here. So angle ACN is equal to angle MAC because of alternate interior angles. And all this is happening because AM is parallel to CN. So now if you notice this particular triangle, that is triangle ANC. So I can say that in triangle ANC, I can say that AN is equal to AC because this is now an isosceles triangle. The base angles are equal, right? All of them are equal to the angle X. So let me mark this as X. So all these are equal to angle X, and therefore I can replace AN with AC. So in equation 1, I can replace AN by AC because AN and AC are equal to each other. Therefore, I say that AB upon AC is therefore equal to BM upon MC, and this is exactly what we had to prove, and hence this is the proof of this is the proof of the angle bisector theorem. So we use BPT to prove the angle bisector theorem. Let me pause for a minute while you take a look at the proof. Let us now prove the converse of angle bisector theorem. So let us consider the proof for converse of angle bisector theorem. In a triangle ABC, D is a point on BC such that BD upon DC is equal to AB upon AC. Then we have to prove that AD is the angle bisector of angle A. So we have to show that angle BAD is equal to angle CAD, right? So we have to show that AD bisects angle A. Now let's extend the side BA such that to a point E such that the length of this AE is equal to the length of BA, right? So I am measuring the length of BA and I am extending it till a point E such that, so this is point E, such that the length of AE should be equal to the length of AC. Okay, so I think I made a mistake of measuring it as BA and then extending it to E. Actually, we want AC to be equal to AE. So then let me go ahead and join the points C and E. So let me note down the construction. So we extend BA to a point E such that the length AC equals AE, right? Now let us try to prove that we have an angle bisector. Now we can definitely think about the given statement. The given statement is AB upon AC is equal to BD upon DC. But because the length of AC is equal to AE, I can replace AC with AE. So this becomes AB upon AE is equal to BD upon DC. So if you think about it, BA upon AE is equal to BD upon DC, and therefore by the converse of BPT, so by the converse of BPT, I can conclude that AD is parallel to CE. I can conclude that AD is parallel to CE because converse of BPT told me that if a line segment is dividing the two sides in the same ratio, then the line has to be parallel to the base, and that is precisely what is happening in the statement over here. The line segment AD is dividing the two sides in the same ratio, right? And that means AD is parallel to CE. So if AD is parallel to CE, let us now try to mark this particular angle as X. So if this angle is marked as X, right, then according to the corresponding angle test, because the lines are parallel, I can also mark angle E as X, right? So this angle is also going to be marked as X. So I can state that angle BAD is equal to, let angle BAD be equal to X. Therefore, angle AEC is also going to be X because these are the corresponding angles, right? And now I have an isosceles triangle here. So triangle AEC is now isosceles, which means that angle ACE should also be X because it is going to be the base angle, right? So base angles of isosceles triangle are equal. That means this particular angle can also be marked as X because it is one of the base angles. So let us mark this particular angle also with X. And now I notice that I have a pair of alternate interior angles. So I can say that angle DAC, that is this particular angle, is equal to angle ACE because of alternate interior angles, and also AD is parallel to CE. So alternate interior angles are equal when the lines are parallel. So we have this particular angle, so I can say that angle DAC is also equal to X. So now if you notice, we have angle BAD is therefore equal to angle CAD, which is equal to x, and this implies that AD is the angle bisector. AD is the angle bisector of angle BAC, and hence proved. This is what we had to prove, and this is how we go about this solution. I will again pause for a minute, but before that, let me summarize quickly. We extended BA to the point E so that AE was equal to AC. That created an isosceles triangle here, and I was able to replace AC with AE. Then using the converse of BPT, I used the converse of BPT to show that the lines AD and CE were parallel. And once these two lines were parallel, then I was able to use corresponding angle test and alternate interior angle test to show that AD was indeed the angle bisector. So take a look at the proof, and then we will move on to our next theorem. Let us now prove the exterior angle bisector theorem. So let us now consider the exterior angle bisector theorem. The triangle ABC is given to us. The side BA has been extended to a point K, and AD is the angle bisector of this exterior angle, right? So angle CAK is the exterior angle of the given triangle, and AD is the angle bisector of this exterior angle, which means that the measures of these two angles are equal to each other. So these two angles are equal. Now we have to prove that BD divided by CD is equal to AB divided by AC. So you will notice that the statement of the theorem is very much similar to what was the statement of the interior angle bisector theorem, just that the point D is in the exterior now, right? Whereas in the interior angle bisector theorem, the point D lied in between B and C. Now the point D lies on the exterior. So now let's consider a construction that will help us solve this particular problem. Let me pause for a few seconds, and let's see if you can figure out the construction. Okay, so let us draw a line which is parallel to AD passing through the point C. Okay, so let's consider that this is point E and my construction is construct AE, construct CE that is parallel to AD. So these two lines are parallel now, and because they are parallel I can say that by corresponding angle test. So let me now start with the proof. I can say that angle AEC is equal to angle DAK because of corresponding angles. So angle CEA is equal to angle DAK because of the corresponding angle test. So if this angle is marked as X, this is also X, then this angle will also be marked as X. And also there are alternate interior angles here. So this particular angle is going to be also equal to X. So I can say that angle ACE is equal to angle CAD, again because of alternate interior angles. And again over here the lines EC is parallel to AD, right? And therefore I can say that triangle AEC is also isosceles. So triangle AEC is isosceles, and this implies that the length AE is equal to the length AC because the base angles are equal, and this implies that the triangle is isosceles. Correct? So these two lengths are equal. So now I know that CE is parallel to AD, so I can apply BPT. So by BPT I can say that BE divided by EA should be equal to BC divided by CD, right? This is the statement for BPT. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the reciprocal on both sides, and I get EA upon BE is therefore equal to CD upon BC, right? Now let me add okay, maybe there is no need to take the reciprocal over here. Let me just add 1 to both sides. Okay, so I have BE upon EA is equal to BC upon CD. Let me add 1 to both sides. So when I add 1 to both sides, after finding the LCM, I get BE plus EA upon EA is equal to BC plus CD upon CD, right? Now BE plus EA is going to be BA, so I get BA upon EA is equal to BC plus CD is equal to BD divided by CD. Now the length of EA is equal to the length of AC, right? We have already shown that, and hence I can write BA divided by AC is equal to BD divided by CD. And this is what I had to prove. If you compare this with what we had to prove, this is basically what I had to prove, and hence I have proven this particular theorem. So the reason why I added 1 to both sides was because after finding the LCM, the terms BE and the terms BC would vanish, because BE plus EA would give me BA, this is what I wanted, and BC plus CD would give me BD, and that is why taking the reciprocal after this particular step was not useful. We wanted the denominators to be EA and CD because they figure out in what we had to prove. So this is the proof of this particular exterior angle bisector theorem. I will again pause for a minute, and we end our today's session over here. ending today's session here.